So I'm just making sure I get everyone. So who has a question for Tina or for me?
We have answered everything.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Ashil.
Ashil, how are you?
Man, don't call me Akile anymore, okay?
I apologize, Ashil.
Okay.
There's a slip on my part.
That's okay. I'm just messing with you. Hey, Tina, good morning. Fantastic. I heard a lot of good stuff that you shared with us today, and I'm wondering, what was the main challenging client that you had to deal with, and in using core value, and how do you approach the situation and get the client to work with you at the end of the day?
Good question. So we make it part of how we onboard a client,
Right.
first of all. Okay, so it's an automatic. George kind of alluded to it, like tax time with with a CPA. But with existing clients, it was rolled out to the same time as just an automatic assumption. Here's a new tool we'd like for you to take, and here's why. So in this particular case, it was rolled out to the groups as a whole. So with an existing group with current members in there, there was kind of a presentation. And George actually hooked us up with a core value advisor to be part of that, to release it, because all of our licensed partners aren't necessarily core value experts. Right. And so they were connected with someone that was, to roll it out. And then there was a specific follow-up one-on-one to go over each report one-on-one with that client. So it was definitely a methodical presentation and a why behind it, but it was definitely just assumed you're going to take it, because this is just a benefit of working with, with us to do that. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Thanks, Ashil.
Thank you very much.
I will say one thing real quick, just to add it.
Please.
There are some clients, we talked about this the other day, George and I did, et cetera. There will be some of your clients that will think this isn't, fully applicable to me, right? So, what would that be, like a franchise owner maybe, or something, where they might think this, how I run things, or in some of the things that this is going to point out is not in totally my control, et cetera. What does matter is there will be info they will getting out of it.
Yes.
Right. So that could be a challenge you might come up against. We did. I didn't expect that. Like we had a State Farm agency. She's like, I'm not going to sell my agency. That's not what I can do, and blah, blah, blah. But she did get some definite key nuggets out of it. So don't get hung up on that if somebody challenges you.
Yeah, it's applicable. It's so widely applicable, and I see some names on here of professionals who have deployed this very broadly. Thanks, Tina. Other questions, guys?
Yep. Hey, George, it's Kelby.
Hey, Kelby.
How are you? Good. Hi, Tina. Hi. Question for you. So I'm trying to kind of understand the LX Council business model, and kind of looking at the difference between, I guess, starting up your own or joining an existing, and what you can kind of add to that decision matrix, and what all is involved in either scenario.
You know what? I did not prompt Kelby to ask that question, but Kelby, I love that question. Thank you. So Tina, you want to go ahead?
I will, but you're going to have a comment on this.
I am.
So Kelby, is your question, I just want to make sure, in starting a peer group, either on your own or going with an organization like mine, who helps you do that? Is that your question? Or is it?
No, within LX Council. So I'm like really trying to understand like how that works. So you start different groups in different areas, or that's incumbent upon us to generate that, or how does that work?
Okay, I think I'm hearing you. So we're a licensed model. And what that means is that there are individuals like Steve Duke on the call, for example, who's a licensed partner. George is a licensed partner. And so we do training, support, et cetera, so that they launch with a structure and a model that's proven and can launch successfully. If there is someone, and let's say like Barry Goodman is an example, who really wanted to do it with someone and not start Boots on his own, he did it under George. So George has acted like a master licensed partner using the LX Council model. And that's an option.
Yeah.
Did
We
that
have,
answer your question?
Yeah, it's given me a little more sense of what the structure is like. So either I would go to George and say, all right, George, you know, let's do this together in my area, what have you, or I would become an LX Council licensed
yeah.
person and
that's-
Correct.
create one using the template model.
Uh-huh.
That's absolutely correct. And there's a Kelby, there are sort of three things at play here. One, you can work, a person can work directly with Tina at LX Council, start a group, and get support with identifying and cementing a strategic partnership with a firm, someone who's going to promote, to sponsor, and help you recruit. The other, we, through the Growth Drive, our sister company at Growth Drive, have business advisor peer groups that are specifically for business advisors to get together inside a standing trusted circle of 10 to 12 advisors who are working together on business development, engagement, challenges, opportunities, problems, ideas. And then the third model is to say, well, I don't really want, I want a hybrid. And we are about to announce that if you don't want to take on all the risk, you want to share the risk, share the work, and also share the revenues, you could actually come in under Growth Drive and do it that way, which is a lower risk and lower investment model. And that's something that Tina and I have been kicking around or working on for a little while. And we're about to take that concept to market as well. Does that answer your question, Kelby?
It does to an extent, right? Because my thinking is around relationship development
Mhm.
with CEOs versus peers,
Got it.
right? So I'm trying to understand which, like, is it about kind of doing groups with CEOs and select different advisors, or what?
So if your relationship is with CEOs, is what I've heard you, right? Your passion would be is you to put a group together of CEOs. So that are peers of each other, right? So, but that would be, you would make up your group, Is that what you're contemplating, trying to get clarity around?
Yeah, because I'm trying to get clarity around, is it, in terms of generating opportunities for my core business.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's
So that's kind of like what
Yeah.
Steve Duke is an example.
Yeah,
So
so I need to be in front of CEOs and business owners, and it's attracting them to something that's going to provide them with significant value by being part of it. And then in developing that relationship, then I can branch off and do consulting and my core, planning, advisory, asset management practice.
Yep. That's right. We should pick up the conversation, Kelby. I think there's Kelby and I always have fantastic conversations. Let's pick up the conversation. I'd love to.
Fascinating.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of sharing the work, and you already got that part down. So
Yeah. Thanks, Kelby. Who else has a question for Tina, for me?
I have a
Especially for
question.
Tina? Please, hey,
George,
Clark.
hi
to see
there.
you.
How are you all? Having been an early adopter of core value, as George would tell you, the distinct differentiation between that platform and all the other platforms that are out there is the distinct value gap analysis of the 9 internal and 9 external value drivers. And that is part of the expression core to that platform. And that's a major differentiator. But notwithstanding that, if you're a member of a business group, so you're a business owner, and one of the value adds as part of your dues structure is they walk you through Discover to determine, where am I? And then visually, and I think this is really important, what core value does is you graphically see where your weaknesses are and where you can focus your attention. But if you are basically doing the Discover, is that an in addition cost, or is that part of the value proposition of the business owner group that are members of that in LX councils, using them as an example? So how do you monetize that from the standpoint of just core value, not oh, and now let's meet next week and we'll talk to you about this weakness and that weakness and this weakness and that weakness?
Sure. There's a one-time fee in addition to the monthly membership fee. And your one-time fee is what gets your value for that core value discovery report. So all of the licensed partners, as part of the best, practice, is that there's a one-time that encompasses materials, assessments, all those kinds of things that you're giving to the member, in addition to then their monthly for the meeting. So that's where you monetize it.
And your participation rates, if you have a group of 15 business owners, do you have any opt-outs usually? I mean, we're all human. If you're batting 1,000, I congratulate you, but there is the pessimist in me.
The 1,000 is for our batting is getting people to get groups up and running. So launching groups. Actual member retention, the actual people participating in a group is 97%. So that's the retention rate. So attrition, 3% is what, roughly. And that includes people selling their business. They move, they do all, there's something, an event occurs. It's rarely that someone says, nah, I'm tired of participating. That is rare. When you do your job well and use the model and the structure, it's going to be because an event occurred. So you're going to have an opening.
Absolutely. That's a great question, Clark. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, man. Go ahead.
So this is Jeff Stern. So Tina, it's fair to say though that there's many variations on the model. When I sit down with a client, part of my personal assessment of the person is, are they qualitative or quantitative? I've sat down with a prospect and I've gone through the 18 growth, and we've come up with that initial report, but I've picked up that this is not somebody who's going to deal with checklists and with another 70 questions of going through the unlock, and therefore I don't do it. I always personally see core value as one of the arrows, and George and I've talked about that in the quiver.
Yep.
And if it's not right for this client, it's not right for the other. I did, and we haven't met before, but George knows me, and I've done peer reviews with another somebody who ran away from an organization that shall not be named out here, and he created his own world, and I did them with him. And it's a shame that I was not aware of core value then, because I would have used it just like you're using it now. I actually had my own process where we went through an annual self-assessment. And that's how I got that team of CEOs working with me to set up their goals and objectives for next year that they were held accountable to.
Yeah, Jeff, that's you actually you hit on a couple of interesting points. Part of that, Tina, you want to comment on part of LX Council's onboarding for CEOs and getting data
Right.
other than core value data?
Um,
I'm referring to the
No.
DISC. Yeah.
Yeah. So they all do the DISC assessment. Now, some of the licensed partners have opted for some other assessments like predictive index and some things like that. And you're right, everybody kind of takes on to data differently than others. And so there's always, in our opinion, always have to be multiple reasons and uses of the data in case some of those don't latch on, to your point, you know?
Yep.
But one of the things we encourage is that the discovery report is shared, that the actual member shares it with their advisor. So we want you to go share your report with your accounting person, your lawyer, believe it or not, your banker. And if they feel like they can't, why can't they? Right. And so, but we do encourage that too.
Yep. Yeah, terrific. Thanks, Tina. Hey guys, I know we've run, this is a great conversation and we can keep it going. I'd like to get a couple more questions. I see that John Crosby, Mike Moan, you guys have unmuted yourselves. Did you have questions? David Tolson, good to see you. Did you have questions for Tina or anyone? I'm not singling anyone out. I just saw that you guys were unmuted and I wanted to make sure we get a couple of questions in, and if people need to drop it at quarter of, great. If not, I don't know how Tina you are for time, but.
I'm looking at Randy. I'm not sure, Randy Schwartz or something. You put in chat about that concept and the answer is absolutely. John Foster is an example, if I'm reading what you wrote correctly, did do that, did core value of the CEO and the management team for alignment.
Yeah.
With the discovery report. And that's very, very helpful.
Yep, absolutely. Other questions for Tina? Thanks, Tina.
Good questions, everybody. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I didn't mean to kill the conversation. Mike Moan, great info. He's got it. Jack Heil, thanks for sharing. Okay, listen, Tina, thank you very much. Anything you want to, you'd like that we didn't cover that you'd like to add in closing?
No, I would just, suggest if anybody has further questions, really, George can probably answer most of them, especially about how it could apply, particularly with what you're doing together with George. And of course, I'm obviously open to any conversation and just reach out. But it was just a pleasure to talk with you all again. And really the point I hope you take away is here's some really impactful data that you can use to help you drive your business and differentiate yourself with what George has been able to put together.
Yeah, thanks, Tina.
Sure.
Okay, well, with that, I have to say one more time, thank you, Tina. Thank you, everyone who joined. Thanks for your questions, guys. I thank you for participating. And any additional questions, feel free. You can reach out to Tina. She's very Googleable, Tina Corner-Stoltz, LX Council. You can reach out to me. All of you know how to get hold of me, and we'd be glad to help. Okay. Power of data. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. You have a great day. Thanks, Tina.
Yeah.
Bye.